Okay, so welcome everybody. So this is lesson 5. We are doing access to the miracle dimension, and we're working with the crystalline matrix today. So let's just open the field. So if you just tune in. So let's just begin by taking ourselves to our very favorite place out in nature. And let's imagine that we're standing in a circle together. And just connect to our heart. And let's just send a beam of green heart light to everybody in the circle, including Adele. And just allow yourself to receive all the beams of green heart light coming back at you. And just notice that in this circle in between us, all these lines of green heart light are crisscrossing each other, forming a sacred geometry of light with the frequency of love. So let's just pop into that space as our workplace. And from within this workplace, we are going to call in our spirit teams, our alchemy teams, our higher self, our angels, helpers, and guides, and any other unseen beings that work with you regularly. There might be some new teams getting ready to come in. And we're just going to open our field of magic and miracles, blessings, love, and gratitude. We call in the infinite power, potential, and possibilities of the cosmic field. And the now point of power. And we're just going to ask for divine and cosmic protection for ourselves, for our lives, and for our work together. And we're going to ask for real world, tangible results. Thank you. It's done. Okay. So our first piece tonight is accessing the miracle dimension. So the miracle dimension is what we would define as miraculous in terms of results, let's say, or experiences. But they're just other experiences, but somehow they're beyond the threshold of what we believe is possible. So, for example, you know the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. In this book, he talks a lot about his lineage of gurus, where they materialize and dematerialize their physical bodies, will materialize or dematerialize. And he also materializes objects, which I've been with a guru in India who was materializing objects. And there's also the potential of living for like 900 years or something. So all of that is not within the realm of what's normal in Western society, let's say. But in his lineage, it's all normal and it happens. So for our work, it's good. Let's say if this piece tested up for a client, what it would suggest is that the goal that they're seeking, they've come to you because they want to transform something or other, and the goal that they're seeking is perhaps outside of the threshold of their beliefs. So what we want to do is expand that threshold so that they can allow in these experiences. Because if they're in doubt, it's gonna obstruct it. It's almost like, you know, that story where I think it was the Spanish flotilla arrived and the indigenous people could not see it because it was outside of their threshold of beliefs, basically. So what we want to do is just expand our miracle dimension so that we can allow more in. And the more you can allow in as a practitioner, it creates a wider space. But also, so obviously this is for us personally, but it's also for our clients. It may come up as one of the pieces you need for your clients. So we're going to begin by testing to see how open you are to the miracle dimension, where basically 100 would be, I'm completely open to the miracle dimension. And if you got 1 or a lower calibration, it would mean I'm only partially open to it. So I'm going to put the chat here so that you guys can let us know. So the first thing we're testing is, how open are you to the miracle dimension? So if you just remember to always clear your pendulum. So with that, I'm clearing my pendulum, I'm clearing the board, I'm clearing the field. And then just seeing, how open are you to the miracle dimension? And if you're getting a low calibration, that's great, because we're going to expand it now. So all good, basically. Okay, Alyssa 100, Kate 25. Okay. What else have you guys got? And Alyssa, even though you're 100, we can expand it more. It means you're open to it, but there may be, we'll test at the end. So Gabriel 60, Samantha 45, Charlie. Okay, great. Okay. And how much access do you have? So you might be open to it, but I could have more access to it. So like I'm open to it in theory, but how much am I accessing it? So Charlie access 10. Okay, great. Well, we definitely want to improve that. Kate 0. Okay. Samantha 75 access. Listen 90 and Gabriel. What's yours, Gabriel? 40. Okay. How much resistance? Is there some level of resistance to the miracle dimension? Kate, 100 plus resistance. Okay, great. So we're going to clear it. Charlie, 30. Melissa, 20. Okay, Samantha, 65. Gabriel, 70. Okay. How much conditioning is getting in the way? Kate, 100. Okay. And how much conditioning is getting in the way of you being open? So if we were all raised in the lineage of Yogananda, we'd all be like, yeah, materialize, dematerialize. It might not be something that you could actually do, but you'd be definitely open to experiencing it, even if it was just your guru doing it. So conditioning getting in the way. Okay. Okay, now all the numbers are a little bit mushing into each other. I think that's everybody. So the next question is, does it serve your soul and your purpose to increase your access to the miracle dimension? Yes. Does it serve your soul and your purpose to increase your access? Yeah. Great. Okay. And what level would best serve you now? So I'm assuming that you're going to get a number that is higher than your current number. So Alyssa, you had 100, so it might go up to 150 or 5,000. Okay, right. Okay. So you're ready to really increase your number. So that's great. Yeah, exactly what you did was correct. It was obviously had to be higher than your previous number. And keeping in mind that Alyssa's 5,000 might be the equivalent of your 100, like everybody calibrates in their own, we have our own level ways of calibrating. So it doesn't, we don't compare our numbers because everyone's internal calibrations are unique to them. Okay. All right. So what would you like to do for the correction? Would you guys like, let me just test. Shall I do the correction for you? Okay, because at some point, maybe you guys will take turns doing the corrections for the class. But I'll do this one because it's testing that. So if you guys want to just tune in, and we'll do the correction. Okay, so just closing your eyes and just tuning in and just seeing if you feel something as the correction is happening. So we're just going to call in your teams and ask to please release any resistance or conditioning that blocks our access to the miracle dimension. And please upgrade our openness and our access to the miracle dimension in accordance with our soul and our purpose and our highest good at this time. Please do this multidimensionally, activating and anchoring this new access to the miracle dimension into our inner earth level, our subatomic level, our DNA, our cells, our body parts, our body systems, our body functions, our chakras, meridians, nadis, our mental body, our emotional body, anchoring the miracle dimension into our behavioral body, anchoring it into our energy body, our light body, our rainbow light body, and our soul, our dimensions, our star, angelic, source, galactic, and cosmic levels. Anchoring full access to the miracle dimension into all of our externals, including our body and all its expressions, our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to friends, family, partners, clients, and colleagues, community, humanity, and life itself, our boundaries, our sovereignty, our work, our career, our creativity, our money, our home, and all other expressions of our externals. Anchoring the miracle dimension into our personality, our identity, our ego, our inner child, our inner mother and father, our inner critic, our inner champion, our inner voice, our inner masculine and feminine. We release any old identities or old inner archetypes that are resistant or unwilling to experience the miracle dimension, and we bring in some new inner archetypes and new inner identities that support expanding our field of experience. And we open access and anchor that access to the miracle dimension through all timelines, all past versions of ourselves, through all timelines, all present versions of ourselves, through all parallel realities, all future versions of ourselves, through all future parallels. And we activate and anchor this multidimensionally through all layers, levels, dimensions, timeframes, realities, universes, through time and space. Activate and anchor. Thank you, it's done. Okay, so now I want you to tune into your, well, you decide where you tune in. You can tune into your heart. You can tune into your alchemy teams or your spirit team, but just tune in to wherever you feel to get a message about the miracle dimension and yourself engaging with it and so on. Did anybody get a message? Do you guys want to unmute and maybe share? My message was that it just sort of expands the field of possibilities. It just makes more potential, more dynamic potential available within my alchemy, basically. What about you guys?
I saw my higher self, which was kind of up in the clouds in the mountains, and she was just laughing like it's absolutely hilarious that down on the earth that we don't believe in miracles because up there it's just like it's so much fun. It's like the ultimate joy, fun, playfulness, and it's just hilarious that like we don't connect with that in our lives down here normally.
That's so cool. That is so cool. What did you get, Gabriel?
Um, I tuned into my heart, and the message that came into my mind was you can have everything that you've ever wanted and more, but dream more and dream bigger. There are no limits.
That's super cool. I get that a lot also. Like my team's always saying, come on, go a little further, like be a little less limited in your thinking,
Yeah.
That's cool. Who else got a message?
I saw a ladder, an infinite ladder leading up into the sky.
Awesome. That's great. Charlie, did you get a message? Oh, can't hear you, sweetie. You actually have to unmute.
No,
it.
I was having a problem with my computer, so I had to come out and actually come back in, so I missed that bit.
Oh, I'm sorry, because we had our eyes closed. So
No, that's okay. It's okay. Kate helped me get back in because I had no idea how to do it. So I'm having a major problem with my internet box up here, and it keeps chucking me out. So I'm
okay.
one, but it's okay. But thank you.
All right, sweetie. Well, what you can do is just tune in and see if there's a message for you about the miracle dimension.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Kate, what was yours?
I didn't have a message. I was trying to help Charlie with the internet. It just felt very expensive.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe you can tune in after class and stuff. But anyway, can you just test now? Oops, sorry. If your consciousness was at 1 before you started this expansion, how much has this access, getting this upgrade in your access to the miracle dimension, how much has it expanded your field of potential? I mean, it expands your consciousness, but also the field in which you're working, whether it's for yourself or for clients or whatever. Gabriel, that 1,000, was that the answer for that question? No, okay. Right. So the last one. Okay. So yes, so how much has this expanded your consciousness, this openness to the miracle dimension? Okay, so if you started off at 1, you're now at 100. So it's bopped it up. Great. Okay. 100 plus. Great. Okay, from 45 to 95. Yep. From 1 to 70. Okay, great. And Gabriel? Okay, so we're just waiting for Gabriel's. Your message hasn't come in, huh?
So I can't, for some reason, I can't get my chat screen up, but it's 1,000.
Ah, okay, cool. Okay. I'm just going to unmute you just so we don't hear ambient noise. Or can you unmute yourself? It's a bit faster if you do it. Okay, so now we're going to work with a crystalline matrix. So a crystalline matrix is a spherical, a circular, crystalline field of consciousness that is self-intelligent and self-regulating. So it's a sacred geometry of light. On its own, in its neutral, unprogrammed state, its function is basically to loosen and undo low frequency energies and then bring in higher consciousness, higher light. So its basic function is, if I apply it to myself, let's say, so I visualize this sphere of light around my body, it's basic function, neutral function, without me programming it, which is something that we will do, but its neutral function, which is super useful, is it's just going to start untangling stuff and bringing in higher light. So that's what it does. So ways that you might use it is, oh, I've got a difficult day today. I'm just going to visualize this sphere of light, this crystalline matrix, this kind of sacred geometry of light around my day. Or, yeah, I've got a difficult long drive to do. I'm going to visualize it around my drive. Or I'm going to teach a class, so I'm going to visualize it around the class. Or I've got to go to the hospital, so I'm going to visualize it around the hospital visit. Or somebody's unwell, I'm going to visualize it around that person. Now, it is programmable. So in its neutral state, it has this basic function, but then I can add something in to program it. So let's say somebody's really unwell and I want to send them some healing. I can program this crystalline sphere with the quality of healing. And I can just, there is a command, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but I can also just do it with my intention. It's like I call in the crystalline matrix, the sphere, I put in the quality of healing, and then I send it to the person who needs healing. And so it's still doing the basic function of undoing anything that is unhealed and then bringing in higher light, but with the added flavor of healing. Does that make sense? Or let's say I have a child and my child lacks confidence. I might every day create this crystalline matrix and put in confidence. What makes it crystalline? It came through to me that this is what I was told, and of course I checked it and how my students checked it. It's crystalline consciousness. It's, yeah, that's all I know. So working with what I was given. Why is it crystalline? I'm not sure. But it's a sacred geometry of light. A little bit like you could say, like, you know, the core crystal in the heart of the earth. So it's not the core crystal in the heart of the earth, but it's a kind of a crystalline, spherical, sacred geometrical structure of light that we intend to use as a technology with a basic function of releasing low frequency energy and bringing in more light, more divine order. So it has this, always has just these two functions, clearing and recoding with higher frequencies. But then you bring in what you're putting in. So in the example of working with my child who's lacks in confidence. So in the morning, I might call in a crystalline matrix and program it just through intention. We'll get into more complex programming as we go along, but just for now, as a basic way of programming, I want to give my child a confidence boost. So I might put confidence, self-confidence, and then I might place it around my child. And I would do that every day. Or if I want to, let's say I have a relationship and me and my partner are a bit fragmented. So I want to put reconnection. So I could put a crystalline matrix, put reconnection, or I could put love and reconnection. And I could put it around the two of us, or I could put it around our relationship, the consciousness that is our relationship. So a couple of things. The crystalline matrix can be applied to other people without asking them first, because if they're not willing to receive it unconsciously, it will neutralize itself. So it is pre-programmed, it is part of the technology that I can send this to, let's say, my godson, and I want to send him self-confidence. If he is not willing to receive it at whatever level, it will just completely sort of dissolve and not have any effect on him. So you can send it to people. It can also not be programmed to harm. So you cannot program it to manipulate or control. So if I try to program my neighbors to be quiet, it's not going to work if they're not wanting to be quiet. So that you cannot use it to manipulate because it's a higher consciousness frequency. Its purpose is to dismantle low frequency and realign with high frequency. So I might go, oh, those neighbors, they're at it with the boom boom music. I'm going to put a crystalline matrix of stillness on them. It may or may not work. If it's in alignment with their soul and it's nice for them, then it might calm them down. But if they're not willing and they're not into it, it'll just dissolve. So the energy of it will generally last for 24 hours. So it's like you'll place it every day. And when you place it every day, so let's say with the example of, let's say, my godson, and I was putting a crystalline matrix around him, which he's happy to receive, and it's self-confidence. Its general function is to run for 1 day unless I specify. So I can specify run for as long as is needed. If you don't specify, it generally runs for 24 hours. But if you want it to run for longer, you can put run for as long as is needed. And you could also put run continuously. Now, obviously, it's not going to run continuously on a person if they don't want it. But for example, this morning, I had somebody come in to look at my house, like a prospective buyer. So I placed a neutral crystalline matrix around my house to clear any low frequency energies and to raise the frequency. But then, as I tuned in, I put one in the corner, in every corner in the house. So you can double up. So let's say I was working on my health. I could put one around my whole body, but then I could also put one in my lungs, or I could put one wherever I'm having the particular, so I could put a health or a healing one around my whole body, but then because my lungs are hurting, I could put one in my lungs. Or if there was a particular place, like in my house, I've got mold and stuff, I could put it up there. Now, of course, I might clear the mold physically, but I could also put a sort of a mold release one after I've cleaned it physically and put one or more. You know how you place crystals in the house, in the corners of the house, because the crystals have a frequency. Well, a crystalline matrix is a little bit like a crystal. It's just not embodied, but so maybe it has crystalline. See, I channel this stuff, and then I'm looking at the crystals in the inner earth, where it comes from. Okay, it feels connected to the heart of the earth. I feel like connecting with this. Yes. Well, I was going to ask us to connect. I just wanted to give you a bit of the how I use it and stuff, but we are going to connect to them. So, sorry. Okay, so I've given you a bit of information, and we're going to look at programming them a little bit in a more complex way. But for a start, can you just tune in? And let's see, so let's see, can you guys just tune in to a neutral one? So I'd like you to call in a crystalline matrix in front of you, a neutral one, and just tune into its energy and tune in and get a message from it and see what information you get from a crystalline matrix, but not one that has a particular programming. We just want to get a neutral one and see what it tells you, for starters. Did anybody get a message about just from the neutral, unprogrammed crystalline matrix? Can you guys unmute and share your messages or your information? So mine was just going, I'm incredibly useful. I have a million uses. I'm like really powerful and dynamic. Release, excuse me. Okay. Okay, we've lost your message. Where was that? Okay, Charlie, what did you get?
I had first of all I tuned into it and it was like fuzzy and active and a little bit like cheekily playful, is any way I can describe it. And then I got infinite possibilities, a divine presence with it, and the key to alchemy.
Cool, great. That's really interesting. Okay, who else got a message about it? Gabriel?
It was just a very simple. I was visualizing it there in front of me, and it was just this sense of the message was, I want to make you happy.
Oh.
Bring lightness, a sort of sense of just bringing lightness and happiness. Then everything else is more expansive.
Okay, nice.
Something, yeah, really simple.
I mean, there's so many ways to use it, which we'll talk about, but just in terms of something that can really bring a lot into your life. So that feels like it has a kind of a personal usage for you, that it's really here to support you personally, which is super cool. Okay. Okay, release and let go. Okay, so maybe it's here to help you kind of release some stuff, which is great. And Samantha, huge heart, that's what you felt? Okay. Alyssa, did you get anything more? When did you turn into the heart of the earth?
Yeah, I was just tuning into like the nature of it, and I just saw the nature of it being interdimensional and just being able to change form and shape.
Okay, cool. Okay, so there's a lot more to say about it. Let me give you just a few examples of how you might use it. So you might want to detoxify your water or cleanse and elevate. So you could just say water cleanse, for example, and you could visualize putting it around all the water that you drink or all the water that your family drinks, so that it clears anything that's in the water, and there could be like even sort of ancestral memories in the water, or toxins in the water, or plastics in the water, like depending on where you live, there can be various things in the water, and then deliver the highest level of light and health and hydration in the water. You could do that. You could do a food enhancer. So I'm vegan, and just lately I've been eating some processed vegan food, and I know it's not really very vibrationally good, but I put a crystalline matrix around it and I go, just deliver cosmic nutrition to me with this food, because I know it's not very alive. And I test it. I test the frequency of the food before. It's usually like a 1. And then once I put the crystalline matrix around it, it comes up to 100. Now, my intention when I do the food and water is that I don't do it for every single meal, because that's a little bit labor intensive, but I do the crystalline matrix in the morning for the food the whole day, for all the food that I eat, all the water that I bring in. So then I'm bringing in much more high vibrational stuff into my body. One of my students, she has a crystalline matrix around her house so that everything and everyone who comes in the house reaches 100 in frequency. Like it basically, any food that I bring into the house, automatically it raises the frequency of the food and raises the frequency of the water, raises the frequency of the, I don't know, the shampoo, so it's not chemical, or any products or any supplements that you might take, anything, just raises the frequency of everything. You can do an emotional balance one, so to balance emotions. So you could just, okay, I'm making this crystalline matrix and I need to bring emotional balance. And that could be bring emotional balance to me, or it could be to my relationship, or to my family, or bring emotional balance to this home. So again, with the emotional balance, you could put that around a home, or let's say around a business. Or I could put it around me and my neighbor, because there's been so many projections and karma and stuff playing out with my neighbor. I could place a big crystalline matrix of emotional balance or karma clearing. And it will always do it at the level that is right for the person. So it's not going to go in there and clear more karma than the person is willing to clear, if that makes sense. In other words, the crystalline matrix respects the rhythm of the person. So it's done in the right way for the person. You could do a crystalline matrix of grounding for somebody who's ungrounded, for creativity, for vital force. If somebody were ill, self-healing, healing, discipline, detox.
Please, can I ask a question?
Of course.
So you say that we can do these crystalline grids, and it is, do you write that on a piece of paper and can you put it on someone's photo, or do you just visualize the crystalline grid like we've just seen a sphere and then direct it wherever you need to go? How would you, are there different ways that you can use this technique? How would you use it? Is it mainly intention?
Okay, so like all of the alchemy, you guys are always free to adapt things in a way that feels good for you. But so putting it on a piece of paper, I never thought of that. But let's test. Is it good to put it on a piece of paper? Yeah. So you could put it on a piece of paper if you wanted and put it on a photo. Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
You
Okay.
could, but the way I do it is I just intend it.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to just tune in for a minute and just tune into what ways you might work with it. Just get a little download and see what's your way of working with it. There's still more stuff I need to tell you about it. But just seeing what ways you guys would like to work with this technology. Did anybody get any sort of different ideas around how you personally? Okay, I'm hoping to send some calm and balance to my little ones at school when they experience distress and dysregulation. Okay. Super cool. Now I'd like you to do a test, and I'd like you to ask your pendulum if your kids were at frequency 1, when you make a crystalline matrix of calm and balance, how's that going to change their frequency? 100 plus. Okay, there you go. And we'll talk about making some more complex ones that can be reused in a minute. But let's just check in with everybody about some different ways to use it, because you can use it. Well, did anybody else get anything in a sense of how you would like to use it? Lisa?
So yeah, I'm specializing in stuff with the brain, and so I saw these miniature ones, like the size of a brain cell, that I can send throughout the brain to like rebalance the brain and get the brain to do whatever I'm working on.
Amazing, amazing. See, that is super cool. Immune system. So when you're going to that much detail, absolutely you can do that. And then you can go into like immune system, you can go into cellular integrity, you can go into blood quality, you could really go into a lot of stuff. And then you always just check with your pendulum. I mean, in a way, you don't need to check with the pendulum, but just in the beginning, when we're using new technologies, it's cool to check with the pendulum, because it kind of just affirms that, you're on the right track and so on. So that's really inspiring too. What else?
I saw my home and the place where I live. We are 10 families in that building. That it just needed a lot of protection and boundaries and positive energy coming in whenever people would step in. That it felt like a crystalline protection field, like a bubble around the entire building, that whoever would step in there, and I guess it's got to do with what happened last week. That my kids are protected, that I am protected, my home is protected, and everyone going into that building.
Okay, amazing. That's really good. Okay, what other uses have come through for you guys? Charlie or Gabriel, did you guys get any kind of sense about how to use it? Charlie?
I had I saw it on it. I saw it as an energetic imprint, something like that.
Yeah.
And what I saw it was that the energy of how it showed up, I see them as balls of light.
Yeah.
And they're kind of sort of pink, iridescent, kind of fizzy, like electrical energy. But what I saw it doing is I saw it as I set my intention to send it as like the lotus flower, the flower of life. I saw it that it downloaded whatever that person needed, whether it be a light language, a color, a sound, a frequency. And I just saw this infinite possibility. Whatever this crystalline matrix does, it just pulls it out of the universe and then channels it straight into there. And then you can put their photo on it and you can leave it on there, and it will keep sending what they need, however long you ask for it to be set up for. That's how I saw it work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Great. Gabriel, what did you get?
A few things, but one of them was using it with clients. One client, but also at sound baths when I've got a group, so each person has their own crystalline matrix, and as a sort of boundary, like raising the frequency as a boundary. Yeah.
So
my main.
I mean, that's a brilliant idea, because when I was in Bali, there are these huge pyramids that you go to and they're doing sound healing. And I have this friend who's like a very psychic, very visual. And she said, I saw entities. So the clearing was releasing stuff, but then these entities were flying around and maybe going into somebody else who was vulnerable.
Yeah.
So what you've just said about the protection, so you could put one around the whole class,
Yeah.
and you could put them around the individuals, and you could just say this kind of creates a funnel of release, so that any entities or any low frequency energies that are releasing don't get sucked into somebody else because they're open or something.
Because
So-
I sometimes do something similar anyway, you know, kind of if I sense something going on, I'll just put a bubble of golden light around everybody individually so they don't get impacted by whatever it is. But this feels like it's just got more intention.
Yeah. So can you guys just test again, just the test that Kate did around, if you use the work, the crystalline matrix, just with the examples you've come up with there, how much, if you started off at 1 with the neutral situation, how much does it raise the vibration of the situation that you've applied it to? Okay, so it raises the frequency a lot. So it depends on how they are. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So just, okay. So I have this client, a regular client, and she really comes to me more for counseling and a tiny bit of energy work, which initially I resisted, but anyway, this kind of relationship has kind of developed. But she talks and talks and talks, and at first she wouldn't let me do anything, and I was like, so sometimes I put a crystalline matrix around her just to calm her down. And I don't, maybe I'll put calm, or maybe I'll just put a neutral one, but it does seem to kind of slow the talk down a little bit and just leave me a little space to kind of really offer her something more than just being a sounding board. So it's great to always contain maybe your sessions. Also, I have this car and the GPS is really problematic, and the phone is the GPS, and I plug it in and then I can see it on the thing, and because I'm living in a foreign country, I need it, right? And so I thought, oh, let me just put the crystalline matrix around it, and it started. So technology can also, like mechanics, can also respond to the crystalline matrix, and you just have to try it and see. So may not work 100% of the time. Sometimes the car doesn't want to be healed. So yeah. Now, if you use it every day, like Kate, with your children, if you were sending this same crystalline matrix of sort of calm and balance to your children, and you're using it daily, they're in that energy, and then it starts to entrain them into that energy. So it's, it's something you want to, if you're looking for a long-term change, you want to apply it daily, or say, I'm running this permanently, and maybe from time to time you just want to verify, is that still in place? And so it starts to accumulate, because if I, let's say a family member is unwell and I put the crystalline matrix around them for healing, and then some healing energy starts to happen, and some of the unwellness starts to disentangle itself. But let's say I'm only running it for the normal 24-hour period. Well, the next day, that energetic support that they were getting from the crystalline matrix is not there. So often it's sort of, okay, some little improvements happened, but if you're looking for significant change, it can take time to accumulate. So, and if you're looking for deep physical change, well, kind of like Alyssa showed us, you can really go into a lot of detail with the body. And so what you would do is you would do some testing around, look, I'm trying to create physical, or significant shift in something. And then you could just do some testing around, okay, is it one crystalline matrix? What are the ingredients? So okay, I'm trying to bring around healing. So it's a healing crystalline matrix. So then you'd test and say, what is the banner? Because it might be profound healing, or it might be radical healing, or it might be enlightened healing. They may be in the frequency of the words, they have a different quality. So you'd want to get the right title for it. And then you're going to test how many qualifiers do I need for this particular crystalline matrix kind of remedy, or, whatever you want to call it. So I'd like us to make one. Now, I just want to, there is, if you go down the page, there is a command to make it. I'm just going to read you the command before we actually make one, just to give you a sense of it. So the command is, where's the command? Let's place it, activating it. Permission. Can you guys see it on your sheet? Basic programming. I went through this before class and I know it's there. Activating it. Or you can use, there's a slightly more, can't find it. Anyway, okay, so I want you guys to tune in, and I want you to ask your spirit teams right now, page 6. Yeah. I don't have the numbers on my pages. Damn it. I'm in a kind of a weird space. Doesn't matter. We're going to tune in, and you guys are going to ask your spirit team, what is the first complex one that I'm going to make up? That is like my first one that is appropriate for me. And it might be that you're making it up for yourself. It might be you're making it for your home, your money, or for somebody else. So just ask your spirit team to show you which complex crystalline matrix you're going to make, and then you're going to test how many qualifiers. So first get the title of it, and the purpose, and the person who's going to receive it. Let's get that general overview first of all. Just getting some water, guys. Once you've got your title of what you're working on, and you know where it's going to be sent to, whether it's yourself, your home, or person, you're going to test and see how many qualifiers. So, for example, I made one called the Heart Opener. And the energies I put in there are heart consciousness, love, new earth frequencies, win-win, courage, connection, beauty, love of life, and happiness. So that has about 9 different qualifiers. So with your crystalline matrix that you guys are making, I want you to test and see how many different qualifiers, how many different energies or ingredients you are putting in. And those ingredients could be anything you like. In fact, you're going to tune in and you're going to get all your ingredients. Okay, we'll just wait till everybody's got all their ingredients in, so then we can share about what kind of ones you made. We'll just take a few more minutes. If you've finished, you can make another one. So tune in for the next and a second one that would be beneficial for you to make up, and get the title and get the ingredients.
Dominic, can I ask a question?
Please do.
I got the second title I got was Emotional Balancer.
Okay.
Where I live in my caravan, I live on a holiday park.
Yeah.
But the wardens that run the holiday park like to bully and interrogate people and drive them away from the site.
Wow.
There's quite a lot of vulnerable people that live in their caravans. So, and when I first moved here, they were my so-called spiritual friends. And then they decided that they couldn't manipulate me, so they then isolated me by not talking to me at all.
Wow.
So I live up here on my own, miles away from everybody. So would I do an emotional balancer for the whole campsite? Or would I do it for just my home?
Well, I would test that.
Okay.
I would test that, but my instinct would be that you would do it for both, probably. But go ahead and test and see what it goes.
So do I do the emotional balancer for the park? Yeah. Do I do the emotional balancer for my home to protect myself from their energy? No, it's for the park. Yeah.
Okay, so, and then have you tested how many ingredients are in the emotional balancer?
How many ingredients are required for this emotional balancer for the park? 4.
Okay, so if you just tune in and see what they are, and while you're doing that, I'll just mute you. But Kate, have you finished? Do you want to tell us about your, what did you come up with?
My cat's just wandered in, so clearly she was up for it today. So I got her. She's been struggling with almost like a reaction to the pollen. And so I got her with 3 qualifiers for her health, which was proper functioning of her lungs, activate the healing momentum, and raise the life force. And then I've just retested her and it's gone up to 100%. So she's all good. And the other one's just legged it. So she clearly is not in there.
Okay, and do you want to test how many days you need to run it for? Like it might say run it for a week.
I've run it until she no longer needs it. So I've kept it there and around her until she's feeling like she doesn't want it anymore.
Brilliant. That's super cool. It's really good with animals. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else completed one? Alyssa, what did you make?
So I made 3 that go together. So I'm working on my son. So he has brain stuff, like similar to autism. So the first is a rose quartz one for the heart. So that is programmed with unconditional love, coherence, self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, and self-confidence. For the brain, there's like 1 million miniature ones, like the size of a brain cell, and those are turquoise, and those are programmed for regeneration, tissue repair, creative genius, coherence, and connectivity. And then there's a gigantic green emerald one that goes over his entire field and extends quite out far ways out of his auric field. And that has something to do with extraterrestrial communication. And so that one is programmed for transmutation, universal harmony, connection to divine creation.
Brilliant. Love it. So yeah, so it's like the crystalline matrix is just a container for whatever ingredients you want to put in. So like that's, I love it. Fantastic. And then you know how long you're running them for, or you're gonna just program them to run for as long as is needed, or?
Yeah, I haven't got to that part yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, run for as long as is needed is kind of a good default in a way, because then you don't have to remember to do it. And there's so many that you could do that if you can just do them once and let them do their work, that's great. And then just you check in from time to time. If it's a project that you're working on, you just check in, okay, have these ones run their course? Now, is he ready for a whole new set? Because it might work in layers like this, right? And if you're working for somebody else, you can tune into their higher self and you can test asking their higher self, is it beneficial and appropriate for me to do some crystalline matrix technology for such and such a person? And just ask their higher self to tell you what to make up. And then you make up your crystalline matrix and apply them and run them for as long as is needed. And then you can say to their higher self or your teams, please give me a nudge when I need to, create the next set. Or, you might know that Sunday morning is my morning where I have time to kind of check in with the crystalline matrix and see if any new ones need making. So yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so let's hear from you guys, Samantha, Gabriel. And what was cool about yours, Alyssa, was bringing in the colors. So I've never brought in colors into mine. And so that's kind of inspiring that we might want to bring in colors if you have a resonance with colors, or even crystals, like, there might be a crystalline energy, or even a flower essence. You could bring in the energy of a flower essence into your crystalline matrix. Like, you can put whatever ingredients, or you could put in, if you were trying to create creativity, you could put in the creativity of Mozart, or the genius of Mozart, or, or Dolly, or, whatever, but you test it to make sure it was appropriate, so Gabriel, go ahead.
I made one for my home. The qualifiers were clearing, light, sleep, and calm. They seem to be the same one. Joy, protection, and life force. And it felt like, the life force of the actual space of the building, of the house. And then the second one, I was told to make one for my heart. And just immediately said, same qualifiers. So it was sort of like the home and the heart. And that heart is your sort of home as well. So again, yeah, just went through the same qualifiers.
Nice one. Okay, Samantha, what did you get?
For me, it was genital healing, and I got 5 qualifiers, which are like different organs and parts of the body, like the ovaries, for instance. And it said I should do it for 6 days. And the second one, I haven't got down to finish it yet, but it's self-esteem healing and 5 qualifiers, but I haven't got around to find the qualifiers yet.
Okay, brilliant. That's so good. So I'm moving to Spain, and today I just saw that in Spain, 40 cities in Spain had anti-foreigner demos because the foreigners drive up the prices and the Airbnbs get really expensive and the Spanish people can't afford to live in their homes. So I'm like, oh man, am I really moving into this place where they're, rising up against foreigners? This just feels so edgy. But I kind of know that it's, I've been doing readings and the whole thing, and it's like, yes, this is where you're meant to go. So I'm like, okay. So when I was like, okay, how many do I need? I need 12 different crystalline matrices. And they're like safety, peace, trust, coexistence, adventure, fun, happiness, and a few other ones. So those were just the main titles. And then I'll have to find the ingredients for each one. So yeah, you can apply it to your move. Now, another thing you can, let me just read to you the, let me just see, shall we, because you guys have quite a few different ones. So I'll just read this to you just so that you hear the command that I use to program a crystalline matrix. So I just go, teams, please program a crystalline matrix for whatever, so that's your main title, and install the frequencies of, and those are all your qualifiers, And then I just say, please program the crystalline matrix, this crystalline matrix, to harmonize with the person or situation it's placed upon, and transmit the energies in the right time, frequency, and dosage to support their needs and their highest good. And then I say, please fine tune as needed and run for whatever time. So you can vary it, and you don't need to use the official statement. Just you go, okay, I'm building a crystalline matrix. It's for this, and it has these qualifiers. And then, its basic function is that it's gonna deliver the energies in the right time, the right frequency, the right dosage. It's not gonna deliver any energies if there's no permission. And if you don't say anything, it'll run for 24 hours unless you say run for as long as needed or run permanently. So if you lived in a house, you could just say run permanently. Like, I want the energy of love and cleanliness in my house, whatever, or, I want that permanent. But you might not put a permanent one on a person. And if you put a permanent one on a person, it would, at the point where it was no longer useful for the person, it would just kind of dissolve. Now, when you're working on something, you may want to test around it, for example, and see, well, do I need to do some clearing first and then apply the crystalline matrix? So if I was doing a client session, I might do a full matrix release. So they're working on money. So I might do a full matrix release and clear all their stuff around money, like all the ancestral stuff around money, and keeping in mind that when we're doing the full matrix release, it's only clearing what they're willing to release. So you're not pulling stuff out of them that is interfering with them, and I wanted to still work through this. You're clearing whatever they're willing to let go of. So that's why we work with their spirit team, because their spirit team is actually overseeing how you're working with their consciousness, how things are releasing, and what you're testing and stuff. It's all guided by their spirit team. Your spirit teams are coming in and doing the alchemy, but the client's spirit team is saying number 111, and that's full matrix release. So their spirit team guides you to whatever's going. So you might do a clearing first and then bring in the energy of the crystalline matrix. I mean, to be honest, the crystalline matrix, I use it in my day-to-day. Like, I'm walking around and suddenly I go, oh, wow, I'm having a viewing on the house. Let's quickly put up a crystalline matrix and let's place it around the house. I use it more in my day-to-day rather than sessions, but it is great in sessions as well, like that talkative client, and so on. So I'd like you guys to test and see what life areas would be good for you to do this work on for yourself personally. So things like house, let's just test. For example, would it be beneficial for your house, like your space? Does your space need a crystalline matrix, or would your space benefit from a crystalline matrix, one or more? So that's the first thing. Would your space benefit?
Can I ask a question, please?
Of course.
So say, for example, I just asked the question that you asked me. One, I live in a caravan, and yes, it is my home per se, but my crystalline grid intention is to live in a place that's for my highest benevolent,
Your highest good.
Yes. So would you run two separate ones?
Yeah, I would run two separate ones. So I would run one on my present home to make it as lovely for me as possible, like as supportive, like everything that you need from it while you're there, like support, peace, peaceful coexistence with those people.
That's a good one. Thank you for that.
Yeah, privacy, safety, positive feelings, nourishment, that it nourishes you. So all the stuff that you need from a home, I would program it and place that there. And then around my goal of maybe having a different home, I would put a crystalline matrix around, well, you could test to refine this, but like upgrading my home.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, for one of mine, I do my journey to Spain. I call it my move to mastery.
Okay.
In other words, I'm releasing the Pluto days, the hardship of the Pluto days,
Yeah.
and I make this scary move in order to really claim my mastery. And so there's a field of consciousness around this move to mastery, and then I work with that field of consciousness. So is there anything stuck in my move to mastery? Is there any ancestral programming? Like if you consider I have this Jewish lineage, going into a country where they dislike you, it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, that, you know, that's kind of very resonant with my ancestral story. And my
So you would kind of run a full matrix around, like you said, this move to mastery for you.
do the clearing.
You would do a full matrix around, okay, what is that? And then you would do the crystalline grid around the home that you're projecting into, and then you would do a crystalline matrix around the home that you're releasing.
Yeah. That's a great way to do it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, well, just to complete that little thing, just, you know, going into the scary environment where they dislike you, it's like, because of my ancestral programming, I could contract and stay in a place that isn't nourishing me anymore in fear. And actually the move to mastery is like, you are masterful enough that you can go in there and be in your own zone and send out your own light, even if the people are aggravated about their situation and projecting onto foreigners. Do you know what I mean? But then I need a lot of crystalline matrix around myself to make me feel safe and to clear my emotions, clear my fears and stuff like that. So
I think that's a really valuable point, because mentally I moved to Glastonbury thinking that was, like you said, my move to mastery. But
okay.
yeah, ever since I've been here, it's been a disaster pretty much since the day we moved here.
Okay.
Everything has gone completely the opposite of how that mastery in your mind, in your heart, in your universal ascension would look like. So there's part of me that goes, I wonder what there is that needs to be cleared here, that
Right.
maybe I've been here before, because I've always considered this to be like my heart home, as in, even when I lived in the New Forest, Glastonbury would be where I would call home, my spiritual home. And I would spend a lot of time traveling here, and I would spend a lot of time learning here. But now I'm actually physically moved here, it's almost like it's trying to spit me back out. Bit like you were talking about Spain, you know, when you get there, is it going to spit you out? So there is a definite energy frequency running. I can feel that is so tangible. It's unbelievable since I've been here. And the fact that I'm now homeless in a little van says it all, really. So
Right.
your awareness around moving to Spain, I never thought I would even experience that in Glastonbury, but that's exactly what I've experienced. So yeah, running a full matrix about living in Somerset or Glastonbury or wherever, it might enable it to unlock, well, actually, where am I meant to be living? Because I've got no idea from here, because I thought that was the mastery of, you know, living the humanitarian project with kind and caring and like-minded people, and I got completely the opposite. So yes, that is a really valuable point you've just made there.
Okay, so you should just test and see, should I do a full matrix release on my living here? And then you can do a grid on where, you know, what's the frequency of Glastonbury for you. And then you can put a whole crystalline matrix around it to try to shift the energies. Okay, well, so who else? Where were we now? Remind me where we are now. So I've taken us down the rabbit hole of Spain and whatnot.
You wanted to test the different things that we should look at, and the first was a home.
Oh, home. Yes. So did you guys get anything for home? Did anyone else get yes, I should do something on home? Yes. I'm curious, what kind of things, did you actually determine what kind of crystalline matrix you need for your home? No. Okay, so let's just tune in for a minute and see what kind of, because people might need very different things in terms of what they want to place in their home. Excuse me. And you can also test and see, is it just one crystalline matrix that's needed, or is it more than one? Because you might need one to make your home feel like the protection one, like what you were going to do, Samantha. And then you might need something else, like you might want to bring health into the home, or healing, have healing energies in the home.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can you set up a crystalline matrix for the home itself to heal a home?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you. And can you set one of those up if you have, say, for example, someone has sold their house and they're buying another house? Can you set up a pre-crystalline matrix to heal the house that you're moving into?
You can, but you want to activate it when you move in. You know, you don't want to go and, you know, it's like it's their home until you buy it. So you can prepare it, and then the minute you take possession of it, then pop it on there.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
So have you guys, Gabriel, did you get something for your home? What did you?
Yeah, well, I already made the one for my home.
That's right, connected to the heart. It was.
But then I've asked some more questions about that, and I think you mentioned love, and I was like, oh, but I didn't have love as a qualifier.
Yeah.
And then I got this message saying you are the love.
Oh.
So maybe that was to do with the heart, you know. It's like that. That's yeah. And so then I asked if I needed more, and I needed another one over by the chimney.
What was it?
I didn't look into that yet.
Okay.
It just said that. I just sort of saw one there.
Mm-hmm.
And then one around the whole building, because there's 10 flats in this building.
Yeah.
Because what happens in the building affects my home as well. So, and we are a community here. So,
yeah.
Yeah. But I haven't got any more sort of details about what they are and what's needed yet.
So when I did the viewing today, I programmed it so that the person coming in could feel their hopes and dreams in this house. Now, keeping in mind that I can't manipulate the person, but if they're meant to be here, then when they come into the space, that they can see themselves there. They can see the life that they're, you know, wanting to have. I can see it, I can feel it in this space. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now it can't, you know, if that woman is not meant to be here, she's going to feel all the nice energies that I've programmed, but she won't feel her hopes and dreams because this is not the place for her. But if it is the place for her, she's going to respond to those energies. So.
That's really
Okay. Did anybody else get any interesting things for home that you hadn't thought of before? Maybe like things that the home might need.
I got a peaceful sibling coexistence.
Oh,
for my
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so within the home, you can put in
Mhm.
the energies of defining relationship dynamics. You can put in health, human health within the framework of this home. You can put in abundance, that this home is an abundant home for me, brings in abundance, or brings in grounding, or brings in clarity, or I can access my creativity in this home. Or that this home is resilient. I mean, like in Spain, I keep on seeing these kind of torrential events, and so this home is resilient. This home has like boundaries around it, and no fire is coming here, no flood is coming here, that kind of thing. So it just depends on what you need, and you test the qualifiers. Just I mean, you intuit them, of course, but you can verify them with a pendulum. Alyssa, did you get anything interesting for the home?
Yep. So for 100% flow of Mother Earth energy coming up into the home, and then divine creation energy coming down into the home, and then expansiveness, gratitude, and joy.
Okay, fantastic. So there's like a million different things that you can do. Kate, did you get anything for your home? Okay. Okay, so can you test for yourself and let's say your body? Is there something that is needed for your body? So test would my body benefit from a crystalline matrix? And it might be more than one. So find out if there's more than one, and then kind of get the titles of them. How are you guys getting on there? Kate, did you get some for the body?
Yeah, I've programmed my body, which was quite a big area. So I've programmed the frequencies that my body needed and that I needed my body to need.
Okay, how many different crystalline matrix? Did you just do them all in one crystalline matrix, or was it a few different areas with a few different crystalline matrices?
So it was around body positivity and weight. So that was the key identifier with 8 frequencies underneath it.
Okay, great. All right, that's cool. Did anybody else? Charlie, did you get one?
Yeah, I had a really interesting one that kind of unraveled the more I was in there. The first thing that it said that I needed 20 qualifiers, and then it said I needed to do it as phase 1 and then phase 2, and that I couldn't run them both together. I needed to do phase 1 first for 4 weeks, and then I need to do phase 2. So phase 1 seems to be around, I asked if I could release all old imprints of toxicity programs that we've received as human being in human form. And the qualifiers were release pain, hurt, suffering, and any form of trauma that's accumulated in the body and has become toxified. And then the phase 2 was being activated for new cellular beginnings of my blueprint consciousness choice and activate divine source crystalline body code frequencies. So it's like, okay, we'll wait for that one to happen.
Superb.
So that was phase 2, but I haven't worked out if there's more in phase 2 yet, because they still keep throwing phase 1 in there a little bit. So yeah, I will work with that.
Superb. Love it. Great. Okay, what else has come up for the body? Alyssa, you done with yours? Have you?
Yep, so I did lungs, ankles, and bladder. So for lungs, it was freedom, expression, acceptance, healing, comfort, life force, movement, circulation. And for ankles, it was flexibility, strength, and safety. And for bladder, it was boundaries, freedom, sovereignty, purification, cleansing, and wholeness.
I love it. That's really good. Yeah, it's really good. So it's so interesting. Sometimes one person's body needs some just really grounded stuff. Another person's body needs some kind of cosmic stuff. But whatever you need, you just make it, you know? So it's really interesting. Gabriel, Samantha, what did you guys get?
I got that I needed 3 for my body. One was the heart. I already made a heart matrix. One for my digestive system to bring calm and flow. Receptiveness. And I couldn't quite put it into words. A sort of not protection, not desensitizing. I've got a lot of sensitivity. About maybe that's the calming to be less sensitive. I couldn't quite get the phrase properly.
Yeah, right.
And to clear any parasites or external influences that are not benefiting me,
Right.
not for the highest good of my digestive system.
Right.
And then one for my whole body.
All right.
And that was about balance, high vibration protection, rootedness, connection to heaven and earth, and improving my iron uptake. So I've been very low in iron. So working on whatever that is.
Awesome. And Samantha, what did you get for your body?
For the body, it stayed with the genital healing. It didn't ask for anything else. So I went on to the self-esteem healing, which I was starting at before. And there the qualifiers now turned out to be the heart, mindset, humor, love, and money. And that it should run as long as needed.
Okay. Amazing. So it's really interesting how different bodies, so this gives you an idea of what your body would like at this time, which obviously may change over time. And then also, if you're working with clients, how their bodies might completely need different things, you know? So at the end of the sheet, I made some presets. I'm not going to read them all to you because there's lots of different ones, like the heart opener. Presets are like a flower essence, although I believe that Crystalline Matrix is much stronger than a flower essence. But presets are ready-made ones that I've made. And what you guys are going to want to do is make some ready-made ones of your own. So it'd be good to either write them out in a book or type them out, and you can give them numbers. And then you might be with clients and need to use your existing presets with a client or with yourself. So it's almost like somebody who's making flower remedies, except you're making crystalline matrix remedies, if you like, frequency blocks. And they're ready-made. And so the heart opener, I can just go, heart opener, that's what I need today. So I've got my 10 different ones. Oh, heart opener. So I'll just place that on myself. Heart opener. Or the heart opener needs to go into this conflict I'm having with the neighbor. Or heart opener needs to go into the move to mastery. Or heart opener needs to go into the sale of the house. So you can have your presets and then you can test, which one do I need today? And where does it go? Is it going over my whole life? Is it going over part of my body? Obviously, you guys are all super intuitive, so you can tune in. And it may be like, well, I need to make some more presets. So Sunday morning is my morning where I take an hour to make some more presets. So, you know, in the way that with flower remedies, there might be a book of 50 different remedies. Over time, you can start building up your preset crystalline matrices. But the fail-safe is that the neutral one is really, really good because it has a sort of divine intelligence to it, and it will go in and start clearing stuff just generally. So you could just put the neutral one around your day every day or around a situation, and especially if you're a bit challenged by something and you're not resourceful enough to be tuning in to see what do I need specifically, then just put the neutral crystalline matrix around yourself or the body part or the situation, or if somebody's unwell. Let's say you drive along. The other day I drove and this car had completely flipped on the highway and stuff. You can put a crystalline matrix around them to just sort of kind of disentangle the trauma and bring around a kind of like, oh, all the support they might need, all the help or all the healing they might need. So whatever they need to really support them. So it's just while you guys were working, I was like, well, is it different from a blessing? And yes, it is different from a blessing. So I think a blessing is more bringing in the light and stuff, but this has also got the disentangling factor. So let me unwind some of the trauma from that car accident and then bring in some healing or bring in whatever is needed. So I thought, can you show us how to use the text? Well, all of these ones that I've put here are just there, like they're presets, and you would just go, I'm gonna take the heart opener and place it on my relationship, or I'm gonna place it, the heart opener might be good for your building. So take the heart opener, and if you just want to test, is this heart opener, which is made up of heart consciousness, love, new earth frequencies, win-win, courage, connection, beauty, love of life, and happiness. Is that particular crystalline matrix useful for any part of your life? So just tune in and see if you get a yes, and if so, what area would that be useful? Or it might say this is useful for my child or my business. Did you guys get anything for that? Was the heart opener useful for anything at this time for you? Yeah? For what area? For 2 areas. So I wanted to finish class by doing a collective crystalline matrix and sending it. So I was thinking, okay, where shall we send it to? But why don't we do the heart opener for the whole of humanity? Does that sound good? So, and then we'll do it, we'll observe, and then we can share what we get. So are you guys good to do that? I've never done a collective one, but it dropped in, so let's try it. So let's just tune in. And just reconnecting to our spirit teams and our alchemy teams. And the particular team that gave me this technology are called the New Light Emissaries. You can just tune into the New Light Emissaries if you'd like for a minute. And so collectively, we are going to apply the heart opener. I'll read the energies in a second. But you can visualize around the whole of the planet and the whole of humanity. We're sending this crystalline matrix, we're activating it. And we're going to ask that it run for as long as is necessary and beneficial for humanity. The heart opener and the energies are heart consciousness, love, new earth frequencies, win-win, courage, connection, beauty, love of life, happiness, and the word equality also dropped in. So I guess we're kind of modifying the one that I have in there. Equality is also there. So we're just going to observe as we place this crystalline matrix over the whole of humanity and the planet. Okay, just because of the time, I'm just gonna, we could spend more time on it, obviously, but let me just check in and see how was that for you guys? What did you guys, what did you feel when, go ahead. Gabriel?
So I visualized it going around the planet as humanity is on the planet. But after I put it around, I suddenly the planet, the Earth, became a heart. This big pulsating pink kind of heart, but really like boom, boom, boom. And I got this sense that of everyone, the whole of humanity's hearts beginning to beat in time with that big central heart.
Wow.
And that sort of entrainment, I suppose, that connection of the heart energy.
Wow, nice. Okay, who else had something? Go ahead, Charlie.
So when we first started, the first thing they asked me to do was to send the energy out to the extended cosmos, because the frequency of the Earth is actually affecting our galactic families. So that was the first thing. And that they then said that because we'd set the grid up, that they would then be able to contribute to us as we then expand our consciousness with the energy that's growing. And then they asked me to send it into Middle Earth. I saw it go into the Middle Earth, into the Middle Earth people and the core, because they said that the Earth was made up of many matrices that we aren't aware of yet. So it was kind of like a real consciousness of where they wanted this energy to go, so that everything, the so above and the so below, is now connected and activated in that consciousness heartbeat, very much, you know, like what the lady before was talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Great. Kate?
I just got a real sense of peace and breath. So expansion, and then almost like the entire world can breathe.
Mine connects to that, but I'll come to mine at the end. That's interesting. Yeah. Samantha, what's yours?
I visualize us all together, like holding that grid, holding it in our vision, and I saw myself fixing leaks. Don't know why that just came up.
Oh, very interesting. You know how we have leaks and tears in our energy field, and we leak energy. So that's really interesting. Leaks in the collective consciousness. Alyssa, what was yours?
I was just focusing on cosmic energy recharging the crystalline grid in the inner earth, because I just felt this energy coming out, and I don't know, I guess I don't know why, but I went into like a weird scarcity thing, and I was like, oh no, which I know is silly now, and like I love Gabriel's like the heart of the earth, because that totally resonates. But anyways, I was just focusing on like the great central sun and cosmic energy, like balancing with the earth energy and like replenishing the crystalline grit so that it would always be flowing and never run out.
Wow. So was there something else? Anything else? No. Well, how mine connected with Kate was I was just feeling like ripples of energy, basically. And I was feeling my lungs, and I've had kind of a lung ache for the last week. And I've also been spontaneously bursting into tears a lot when I hear about Palestinian children being killed. I'm just like blub, blub, blub. And it's like, oh, wow, okay. I didn't know why my lungs were hurting, but it's like, oh, so it's some grief. So it was like, okay, I'm anchoring some kind of grief, like humanity's grief over this trauma. And so it was kind of like, oh, okay, it's a bit of a release. Like the crystalline matrix was kind of showing me that there was going to be some trauma release, basically, as well as restructuring, and some of the stuff that you guys saw, I was connecting to the trauma release. Yeah, it's brilliant. Actually, Alyssa is brilliant at working with collective groups for collective healing like this. So probably, you know, when I teach, every class is different. I mean, there's some fundamentals that are the same, but every class needs slightly different things depending on their consciousness. So probably because of you guys, and well, obviously because of you guys, we're kind of working it differently. That's why I never did the collective crystalline matrix, but it's kind of interesting to do. And it does resonate. It's kind of a slightly, well, it's very resonant with the work that Alyssa does. Anyway, okay, so let's seal the field. And I think next week we're gonna do some advanced crystalline matrix processes, working with a pyramid and working more. Anyway, I'll explain more next week. So if you guys want to just tune in, we're just going to thank our spirit teams and our alchemy teams and all the teams for all the guidance and technology and support. And we are going to seal this field of what we've done tonight in a cocoon of magic and miracles, blessings, love, and gratitude, the infinite power, potential, and possibilities that exist within the cosmic field, and the transformational now point of power. We're going to ask for divine and cosmic protection for ourselves, our lives, and our work. And we're going to ask for real-world tangible results from the work that we do together. Thank you. It's done. Great. So you guys can play around with making your own ones. You can play around with the presets that I made there. You can start to build up your library, or just test, or just play some neutral ones. If you're really busy and you don't have much time, just pop some neutral ones and see what happens. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Is the pacing a little better this week? Did you guys feel like it was a little less rushed? Good. Okay. I just had to kind of adjust to your rhythm, so that's okay. Great. I'm gonna turn off the recording, and I'll see you guys next week.
Have a great week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.